This woman made a choice to bring a parrot into her life to ease her loneliness, sharing many years of companionship with the bird. As her time drew near and she prepared to bid her final farewell, the parrot's reaction stunned those around her, leaving them at a loss for words. At times, even amidst a crowd, one can feel isolated. Some find solace not in human company, but in the steadfast affection of a pet. While cats and dogs are popular choices, others opt for fish, reptiles, or birds to alleviate their solitude. The protagonist of our story is indeed a lady who found companionship in a bird, a parrot that lived a bit longer than the average house pet. She lived in Lyon, France, in a small apartment of her own. She was getting older and had no husband or friends, and she knew that a pet would keep her company in her lonely house. The rules of her condo stated that she couldn't get a dog or a cat, so she decided to adopt a parrot. She had spoken to her landlord about the possibility of getting a bird, and he had agreed that a parrot would be less annoying than a mammal. Birds mostly stay in their cages and occasionally make noises that are less loud than barking. The woman agreed that this was the best option and began to do her research on parrots. She couldn't just go to any store because parrots are not commonly kept in pet shops. Eventually, after much research and joining communities to discuss the perks of being a parrot owner, she found the perfect companion. He was a special African gray parrot with ash-colored feathers who did not require a large amount of space. It was the perfect match for her, and yet she was still unsure. She feared that perhaps such a special bird would require too much care or would be too costly. However, she went back to visit the parrot several times and eventually warmed up to the idea of becoming his owner. The parrot liked her too. She named him Sinbad and took him home. From the first day on, Sinbad would be delighted every time she walked into his room. He would swing and dance and talk to her. Soon enough, the lady realized that they were meant to be. The day that she brought Sinbad home was the day that she found out the rest of her life was going to change. Finally, life wasn't just the same routine over and over again. She now had to take care of Sinbad, and he was a delight to be around. He would sing to her in the morning and repeat the funny phrases he picked up from the street. For all the noise he made, she almost felt like she had another human in the house. They would sit on the balcony while she sipped coffee or watched the sunset together. She made new friends through the parrot owners community and realized that this pretty bird was exactly what she had been looking for. Owning a pet was a big step for her. A cat or a dog would have been more challenging, but a parrot requires a special kind of commitment. Parrots are incredibly intelligent animals and can live up to 50 years. The woman and her parrot soon became best friends and lived together for 25 years. Now, 25 years is much longer than the typical age span of a dog or a cat. 25 years is a quarter of a century. At first, the lady was amazed at how well Sinbad was doing over the years. In the twilight of her years, she harbored a poignant fear that her beloved Sinbad might need to find a new home due to her advancing age. Yet, amidst contemplation, she made a resolute decision. They would share their lives until the very end. Sinbad's vibrant presence infused her apartment with a newfound luminosity, casting shadows of loneliness far from her heart. In his company, the echoing halls seemed to whisper tales of enduring companionship. With each passing day, her bond with Sinbad deepened, weaving a tapestry of shared moments that made her feel more whole than ever before. As her children graced her doorstep, they too found solace and joy in the warmth of Sinbad's affection. His feathers shimmered with anticipation as guests arrived, his gregarious nature unfurling like petals in the sun. Sinbad, the charismatic raconteur of avian lore, reveled in the attention he garnered, his eyes dancing with mischief as he regaled visitors with a symphony of tricks learned from his devoted caretaker. His melodic voice, a testament to years of shared melodies, filled the air with a sweet serenade that echoed the depths of their intertwined bond. With a flutter of wings and a mischievous glint in his eye, Sinbad bridged the gap between human and avian, a beacon of connection in a world filled with whispers and echoes. Some people said that parrots can only repeat back what their owners say, but she felt Sinbad was different. Aside from all the fun tricks he could do, she really felt like he was talking to her. They would always say good morning and good night to each other. She would talk to him about her problems, and he seemed to understand, even if his answers didn't always seem to make sense. As their bond grew stronger, so did their emotional attachment to one another. Parrots are some of the most emotionally intelligent creatures in the world, and the woman was absolutely convinced that Sinbad knew what she was saying. He was more than just a pet, he was her best friend. Slowly, as time went on, the woman got older and her health started to decline. She tried to live at home as long as she could, but her body was failing her quickly. One moment she felt healthy and strong, and the next she had to sit down and rest her tired joints. She knew she didn't have much longer, but she didn't want to believe it. After all, she still had to take care of Sinbad. She decided that she would just go see the doctor for a quick checkup. One visit turned into 2 and 3 and 4, and before she knew it, she was also seeing specialists and visiting the hospital. Often Sinbad was left alone for longer and longer hours. The lady always tried to book appointments in the middle of the day so that she could still say good morning and good night to her friend without much interruption to a schedule. The parrot, as we mentioned, was very intelligent. He knew that something was wrong, and he started to tell her that he loved her much more often. For a while, his thoughtfulness brought her a little light and energy, but it didn't last for long. Eventually, she was admitted into the hospital, where she learned that she didn't have much time left. The doctors made sure to tell her family to say their last goodbyes. Those final days were filled with tears and brave plans made about what sort of funeral she wanted. It was during this time that the woman's daughter took Sinbad with her on a visit. In the hospital, the parrot seemed to realize the weight of the situation and stayed close to his owner the entire time. Even though he was normally very active and chatty, Sinbad was particularly quiet that day. Of course, no one had told him that he was going to the hospital or that his owner was unwell, but it seemed no one had needed to. Perhaps he had really understood when the woman had talked about her troubles at home, or perhaps he could simply sense the atmosphere in the room. Either way, it was clear that he knew. He remained next to his owner, hopping around on the bed, trying to check if she was all right. The woman's daughter asked her mother to say some last words to Sinbad to let him know that she would miss him. Frail and tired, the dying woman mustered up the strength to rasp out, "I love you," to her beloved parrot. As soon as these words were said, the parrot reacted in such a heartbreaking way. Sinbad seemed to become more alive. Just hearing the voice of his owner gave the bird hope. Unfortunately, that didn't last long. It was the woman's final goodbye to her beloved Sinbad. It may surprise many of you how much of an emotional connection birds can feel with their owners. In fact, science shows that parrots can feel depressed after going through a traumatic event like losing a loved one. There are even antidepressants available for birds like Sinbad. The woman's daughter adopted Sinbad, and while they haven't had as many opportunities to develop a deep bond as he had with his original owner, their relationship appears to be thriving. She is pledged to care for Sinbad for the remainder of his life, and together they can honor her mother's memory and cherish the unique connection they all shared. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.